And I believe right now that is an important thing. If I had one thing to say to anybody today or any time during this time is please don't forget to encourage someone else.
Well, Kimberly, Cheris, I want to say welcome to Ashro Women at Home. It is a pleasure having you.
Well, thank you very much. It is an honor to be considered among the Astro Women at Home.
Well, it's our pleasure indeed. Well, before we get started, I've got a lot of questions that I'd like to ask you. But before I get started on those questions, we love to know a little about you. So tell us about yourself.
Well, the first thing I would like to say is I have a wonderful husband. I'm married. I've been married for over 25 years now. And I have two wonderful children and two wonderful grandsons. They're very intelligent. I am also a minister at my church, and I'm also over the outreach and health department there. I am also a nurse who practices legal nurse consulting, as well as I do a lot of community nursing. And I am author of 3 books, and recently have done a poem called COVID-19, You Can't Break Me. So I am very, I love people, and I'm very active in the community because of that. And I also am active with the local hospitals and belong to an organization called Black Nurses Rock. And it's not just about being Black, but it's about what are you doing as a nurse? Are you actually out there in the community, seeing what the needs are to the community? And that's a great part of who I am and a great part of what my books are. The first book I published is called Shattered But Not Broken. The second one is True Love by Any Means Necessary. And the third one is a season of faith building devotions. And as you know, we need that right now. So I'm a caring person, a loving person, and I've been in the line of caring for people spiritually and naturally for over 25 years.
Well, Kimberly, Cheris, you are a multifaceted, multi-talented woman. I was so impressed as I looked at your questionnaire, and I have my trusty little notes over here. I'm going to be going back to them. But first, I would like to thank you. As a nurse, thank you for your service to us. Thank you for your service to our community. Nurses are on the front line of this pandemic, and we just want to let you know that we appreciate you.
Well, thank you so much. It is something that when you're really a nurse at heart, you don't even really look at the crisis, but you look at what can you do for the people? What can you do to make it better? And so that's what we have been doing. We've been out there. We've been even helping other healthcare providers, even if they work in a facility. Let's say they are one that is a housekeeper or they work in the kitchen. We've been going to area hospitals, and we've been donating meals for them so that they have their meals, they have their dinners. We pick the night shift because that's the shift that's usually forgotten. So we've been not just on the front lines ourselves, but we've been trying to help other nurses as well, and other healthcare providers and people that work in healthcare facilities. And we also have been going to many community centers and helping to give out food to our community as well. I did forget to mention that I am the founder and co-host of a show that focuses on the community. It's called WK in the Community, and it airs on a local channel here. It's in Comcast channel 190, and it's called Lapa TV, and it comes on Sundays. And I started it because my co-host is actually my mother, who is like one of my best friends, and she's the one that actually first showed me Ashro clothes. So I did want to mention that Wendy, my mother, has been a blessing and also that she is my co-host and partner in ministry as well. And what we focus on is doing an hour where we're inspiring people, but we're also updating people on what's going on in the community around the world. We pick different awarenesses topics in that month. Like for instance, this month we talked about mental health awareness. And we also, talked about the mothers. We called it Amazing Mothers Doing Amazing Things. That was the name of that segment we just recorded last week. So we want to inspire people. We want to also keep them educated. And we also want to allow them to know that no matter what's going on in their lives, that we are there for them. So that's a great part of my day as well.
Oh, that is wonderful. Thank you so much for sharing that with us. And the fact that you are so community oriented, I just found quite impressive. Now, what are some of the things that are important to you to do in your community?
Well, I believe that it's important that you not just speak about, resources or you don't just speak about what is going on, but you actually go down in the trenches and you actually do, if they need testing done, you actually help people to, find where the resources are at, but you actually go and, just like I said, we've been providing food. These things are important for me. It's important for me to know too, for the community to know, and that's what I do, is if you're having problems, not just during COVID, but even if they're having problems paying their rent, people have all kinds of things that hit them. There's a lot of people who lose loved ones, and after that, they don't have anything else. So we're here to help them. So that's important to me. It's important that the community knows that they have a source, but they also have someone that will work with them. And it's important to me that the community is built up. So I work very hard, even in my books, to make people, uplift their spirits and allow them to see that they are somebody. One of my favorite sayings is, don't let your past dictate your future. So I'm constantly doing education, not just health-wise, but just allowing people to know that, to motivate them to do what they thought they could not do. That is very important to me. Everybody said, if we know that Cheris is going to speak anywhere, she's going to remind them, don't let that past dictate that future. And so it's important to me that people know, especially women, that they know that they can do anything that they set their mind to do. Sure, some people don't have support systems, but we are there to remind them that we are their support systems. So that is very important to me as far as the community, building them up. So if I had to sum it all up, I know that was a lot, it's building up the community.
Well, we thank you so much for being a community builder.
Thank you.
So vitally important today. And you mentioned something that I did not see in your questionnaire, and I want to loop back. You mentioned that you wrote a poem on COVID-19. Would you recite that for us today?
Sure, I can. Hold on for 1 second. There I go.
Okay.
It's called COVID-19 Cannot Break Me. COVID-19, you thought you could break me. Instead, you made me stronger, gave me the strength to survive. Sure, I cried over all the lives you took, but it made me appreciate my family and friends. Take time to eat dinner with my family, read stories and play with my children, connect with childhood friends, made me help feed strangers in need, forgive the unforgivable, pray for everyone even when I am tired, mourn with those who are needing comforting, share what I have with others despite race, creed, or color, love in spite of, unified an entire nation. COVID-19, you cannot break me.
That is absolutely beautiful. Thank you so very much.
Thank you.
Cheris, are you in the Ashro Faith and Fashion Facebook group that we have?
No, I didn't know about that. I will
Yes.
certainly have to join it.
Right. Right.
It sounds
If you could go to Facebook and search that, I would love to see you post your poem in our Facebook group.
great,
That
great.
is
I will
beautiful.
I will certainly do that. Now, can you repeat that one more time?
Yes, it's called the Ashro Faith and Fashion Group.
Okay,
There,
I will do
yes,
that.
and asked to be allowed to become a member.
Yes,
You will be accepted, and then please post that beautiful poem. We would love to see it.
thank you. Thank
My
you.
pleasure. Now, how has the coronavirus changed your life in general?
It has, part of it was in my poem, but it has really changed my life in the fact that I thought that I was doing a good work and doing the Lord's will all this time and not realizing that there were a lot of areas that weren't being touched. And so what COVID did is it thought it was there just to destroy us. But, you know, I always revert back to the Bible. What the enemy intended for bad and evil, God turns it around for our good. So what it has done for me, it has allowed me to, number one, spend more time with my family. When I was growing up, my grandmom always had dinner at the same time. We always had our time as a family together, even on the weekends. So I know part of society, we've gotten away from that. We are so busy. We're on the move all the time. And you're a family member and you are just passing ships in the night. But this allowed me to take a break, put the brakes on and say, you know, we're here together. Let's talk. So, you know, it's allowed me to talk to my family more. It's allowed me to connect with people that you know, that come to your mind often, but we're so busy, we never call them. So it's allowed me to connect to those that I haven't talked to in a long time. It's allowed me also to do more writing, which is very therapeutic, by the way. It's allowed me to start doing some painting. And I didn't even know I could paint a little bit, but it's allowed me to do some things that are therapeutic to keep my mind off of what's going on the outside. Not that we don't want to be informed. You shower yourself. I always, just even if you start in your journals, that's what I've been doing. I've been picking up, doing more writing than I had been. I kept saying I'm going to get back to that next book, or I'm going to get. Well, now I have all the time. It's also made me just think about, you know, a lot of times we hang on to things, and it's allowed me to see that this thing was greater, and that there's no time for you to walk in unforgiveness. But this is a time to love. And this is a time to take a situation and turn it around for the good. This is that time, because you don't have an excuse, Kim. You now have that time to do that. So I'm excited about that, and it's turned my life around in another way, not just closer time with family and friends, but also getting back to the basics of life. What I mean by that is we don't take enough time even for ourselves. And taking care of yourself is a very important thing that every woman and every man too, but especially women, we're mothers, we're working somewhere, we're seeing to the needs of maybe our parents who are elderly, and we don't take care of ourselves, but we need to take time to take care of ourselves. So I've been doing a lot of pampering of myself while I'm reading God's word, while I'm being inspired even more. So it's really allowed me to just have some me time, to love on me and others. And that's long overdue. My husband's always saying, you never do anything for yourself. This was the time that I could do that. And it's also given me a time to think about new things that God has for me to do, and to actually write plans out and focus on them. And then I laugh because with the family, we're so used to technology, all the video games, I know my grandchildren would correct me and say, it's not called video games anymore, Grandma. But it allowed me to show them, well, here's some of the games we used to play. And they actually enjoy it, like charades, even playing Uno. Now they have electronic Uno, but let's play it like we used to play it. To get back to the Scrabble games. A lot of the Scrabble games are on the phone now, but let's take time to put the phones down and come together in that way. So it's allowed a lot of reconnection and reconciliation in my life.
You have made great use of your time, and thank you so much for giving us a blueprint. That is a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful way for all of us to use the time that we have in our homes to connect with our family, to connect with our friends, to work on new projects that you just mentioned, and to take me time as well. Thank you so much for sharing that. And how are you connecting with your church family?
Well, that's been a wonderful experience. Technology, as you know, can be bad and it can be good, but we're happy because we use the technology, and we have online church on the social media on Facebook. We also have a conference call that we do for people who are not on Facebook. A lot of the elderly people, they don't know anything about Facebook, and they don't want to know. So we make a conference call option available as well. We have Bible study and prayer on Thursday, and we do it, just like I said, on social media as well as the conference call line. And then on Sunday, we do the same thing, but we stay in touch. We do also weekly love calls to make sure that our members are doing fine. And if they have a need, we make sure that we get that need taken care of for them. We have members from New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. So it's important for us to make sure that they know that we're there for them. So we have been still having our services, and we have still been being blessed by the words that have come from our leadership. And we have also been utilized in that way as well. So I am excited because this is how we've been doing it. And we love it so much that we're going to continue, even when we go back inside our sanctuaries, we're going to continue this, because there's a lot of people who won't come into a church building, but they surely are jumping on the social media, Facebook page. They're also jumping on the conference line. And this is wonderful, because if you think about it, Jesus did his greatest ministries when he went out. He wasn't so much in the temple, but he went out. So to me, it's showing the body of Christ, at least it's showing me that we need to do more of this, going out and catching and casting our net on the right side, and going out to people like Jesus did. So this is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And so again, the enemy thought that there was going to be something bad, but we still found a way. And I think this says a lot about the church as well.
It sure does. And oh, yes, it is wonderful that we can worship interactively. And as you shared, bring in another group that typically wouldn't just walk into the four walls of the church. They can go online, they can listen in on a conference call. So there are so many different things that they can do.
Yeah.
Kimberly, Cheris, you are a woman of immense faith. And you have an amazing testimony. You've overcome some health obstacles. Can you share a little of that with us?
I'm sorry, I didn't hear you.
Can you share a little about the health obstacles that you've overcome?
Sure. I was diagnosed in 2012 with the first condition was called hemiplegic migraines. And they were not migraines like you just say, I have a headache and it may take 2 days to go away. But these headaches were the type of headaches that mimic a stroke or a seizure. So the type of nursing that I was doing where I was at that time, that I could no longer do it. So what I did was I still continued to follow the doctor's orders. But of course, I stayed in the Word the whole time, because at first I was scared, and that's normal for people to be scared, especially when they find out they have any condition. So I stayed in the Word, and I kept reciting, God has not given me a spirit of fear, but of love, power, and a sound mind. And I kept that before me. And in the midst of that, the doctors ran more tests, and they found out I had something called narcolepsy. And if you know anything about that, it's when people they could just be talking like you and I are now and fall asleep. They fall asleep on the road. As a matter of fact, there's a higher number of statistics of people dying from people falling asleep than it is from them being under the influence. So they said, you have narcolepsy, but we need to check out some more things because some of your blood work's not coming back right. So the next thing I know, they said, you have Behçet's disease. And I said, well, I've been a nurse for quite a long time, and I've never heard of Behçet's disease. So they told me that it was a rare disease that was a form of vasculitis that most Mediterranean people get. And they said it's not easy to treat, and you will have a lot of difficulties. And between all of these different conditions and diseases, it made me, I was in the hospital all the time. I was like weekly, monthly, I was in the hospital all the time. But I kept on hearing those words that, by my stripes, you are healed. And I kept hearing what my mother and father would recite to me from the Bible, you shall live and not declare the works of the Lord. So I began to say those things along with all the other scriptures on healing over my body. I began to speak them so that I could believe them, because when symptoms hit you, it is hard for you to believe that you are healed. So I kept speaking those healing scriptures. And then the Lord said, I want you to also, that's when I began to start writing. He said, I want you to also take this time when you're hooked up into an infusion center, when you're hooked up into that IV line. I want you to take this time and start writing and ministering and sharing your stories and sharing your experiences with other people. This is going to help bring healing to them. And I found that the more that I did that, I felt better and better. And other people were telling me from reading that they felt better and they had found a new faith. And before I knew it, I can't tell you the last time I've been in the hospital. It's probably been years since I've been admitted in a hospital now. And I attribute it all to God's word, God's power, and speaking positive over yourself. So wherever I go, I say those things to, I don't care who it is, speak positive over yourself. In one of my books, the first one is Shattered But Not Broken. At the end, I actually leave with some confessions that they can say over their self, such as, I am healed. By his stripes, I am healed. I shall live and not die. I have them actually declaring good things over their self, even financially. I have them saying that, my bank account is full and it always stays full, just positive words of confession to remind them of who they are, but they have power. There's power in our mouth. There's power in this tongue. So if we speak life over whatever it is that's bothering us or that is even having us depressed and weighed down, if we speak positive over that situation, we will see the positive fruit from that. So yes, I say, I thank you, Lord, that my bank account is always in the positive and never in the negative. And so I love that God allowed me to share those confessions to say over, that you could say over yourself, that I say over myself. So that's how I overcame a lot of what's going on. I still get tested. I still have times where I need to get, treatment here and there. But as far as hospitalizations, God said no more. And I thank God that I haven't been in the hospital. I'm saying for a couple of years, but it's probably been more than that. And that's a big deal when you've been in the hospital almost every week prior to that. So I'm just happy to be in the place that I am now. And I believe God is going to heal me even further.
A powerful testimony. Thank you so much for sharing that.
You're welcome.
So much. Now, Kimberly, Cheris, what do you miss in this during this pandemic? What do you miss most about your everyday life?
I do miss actually, when I do go out, I do miss being able to have that human touch. And that is a part of how God made us, that we would need each other, the human touch and the actual physical fellowship with the church. I miss that, being able to come together and praise and worship God together, where we can see each other, where we can give each other an embrace, a hug. So I do miss those things. I miss being able to do, when I'm giving out the food, I miss being able to actually, if someone needs the prayer, to actually hold their hand. So, those are the type of things I miss. For some people, that may not seem important, but that's important to me. And even when I'm speaking or I have to go somewhere and speak, I miss being able to shake someone's hand. So that's what I miss. So I'm not sure.
That is what I miss as well. I'm a hugger, and so just going to my church, hugging my church members. I miss hugging my extended family members. The way we are. So I certainly agree. Just having that human touch is so important. Now, what do you miss about dressing up? Do you miss dressing up?
Well, every now and then, I'm going to tell you, just to treat myself, no matter if I'm in the house or not, and mostly I'm in the house, is that I will take some time and just put something on and dress up. Because I think that that's a way of helping you to feel better about yourself. That you still can put on the Ashro outfit inside your house and have your dinner with your husband or your family. I don't think that you have to be going somewhere all the time, but it's just all a part of making you feel better and lifting up your self-esteem. So I still do it. Somebody might think that's silly, but I think it's therapeutic as well to make you feel better. I think that when we dress up and we look our best or we look good, that it inspires us to be extra happy. And so that's what I try to do.
I agree with you. And that is a great idea. So I will dress up and have with my husband inside of my house.
Yes.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And so now when you're, is there a special event in the future that you're looking forward to going out, dressing up and going out to this particular place?
Actually, I am. My husband and I have a cruise that we're supposed to be going to in October. And I really am looking forward to that. And I always take my Ashro outfits with me because they make a statement when I come into the room. They make a statement that here's this confident, beautiful woman, and they're saying, where did you get those clothes? But I'm looking forward to the cruise because they always have a formal evening out, and I'm excited about it. So I'm praying that they do not cancel that cruise, that all this COVID-19 will be behind us.
And I'm hoping that it will, so that you can go on that cruise and wear your beautiful Ashro ensembles.
Yes.
Yes. Now, how's your hair care these days? How's your hair care these days? What new hairstyles are you trying?
Well, I really miss my beautician. Me and my mother just talked to her not long ago. I really miss going to the salon, getting that nice massage in your head and everything. But I've just taken the time some days because you have the time. I just took some days where I'll go all out and I'll wash and blow dry my hair and go ahead and style it myself. And this time, well, the last two times that I washed my hair, I went ahead and I said, let me just brighten up the tones of my hair today. So I've been doing my own hair care, still trying to look presentable and not scare anybody during this COVID-19. But again, I think that just like I said with the dress up, it makes you feel better when you can wash your hair and you don't, feel all, oh, my hair is filthy and my hair looks a mess. But you can take that time and you can create a new hairstyle or create a new color. Maybe you never had time before, but this is a great way to make good use of your time.
Well, your hair looks beautiful.
Thank you.
Now, are you trying anything different? Maybe are you trying wigs? Are you trying hair wraps? Or are you doing anything different right now?
Well, I have tried in the past some wigs, and every now and then I will wear them. But I have been experimenting with the hair wraps. I have three hair wraps from Ashro. So I'm trying to figure out how to get that done because they're beautiful prints. So I think sometimes they make a beautiful addition to your outfit. So I'm really trying to work hard to get that mastered. I said I can do it because I don't have to go outside. I can practice and practice.
You sure can. You can practice it, and the hair wraps, and it's easy. Actually, there are a few how-to Ashro videos.
Okay.
If you go to the regular Ashro Facebook page and look at videos, there are a few videos that show us how to wrap our hair. I tried the first time this past Black History Month a few months ago, and I looked at the video and wrapped my hair from there for our Black History Month program at church.
Well, thank you. I'm certainly going to do that and share that with my mother as well, because I didn't know that you had a Facebook page and that it gave you all these wonderful tools and resources, and we're sure going to use them. We've been wanting to wear these wraps. She got some too. Now she thinks she has hers mastered down, but she can watch the video too.
What is the name of your lovely mother?
My mother's name is Wendy Singleton.
Well, Miss Wendy, tell her thank you. You mentioned that she introduced you to Ashro?
Yes. She said, I have an order coming in one day. And I said, oh, that's nice. So that Sunday, she came to church. I said, I've never seen that. That's beautiful. She said, oh, I got this from Ashro. I said, oh, well, you have to turn me on to them. So she started giving me her magazines after she was done with them. And so I started making some orders, and people were just as excited as well when just like I was with her, to see me in these outfits. And they kept saying, where did you get that? Where did you get that? So I started pointing them to Ashro as well. So I'm hoping that they actually became customers of your wonderful establishment, organization, store as well.
Well, thank you so much. That is so kind of you to tell everyone about Ashro. We appreciate that so. And what state do you live in?
I live in Delaware.
You live in Delaware. Now, have you all started opening up yet?
They started a first phase where you can have small businesses and essential, stores, but you still, as far as restaurants are concerned, you still have to use curbside or delivery. As far as the bigger stores that are not essential, they're not open yet. They're talking about doing it June 1st. So we'll see how how everything pans out. But right now it's a partial opening. Everybody is still required by the CDC to wear masks when they go out. So what I do, and you're probably going to laugh, is I have a mask in just about every color. So whatever I'm wearing, I wear that color mask. So yeah, that's what's going on in Delaware.
Well, no, that I am not laughing at all. I think that is absolutely wonderful. And I think it's a great idea. It's important for us to be safe, but there's nothing wrong with us being stylish while we're safe. So I think it is a great idea to have a color for each outfit that we wear. So thank you for giving us yet another wonderful tip.
You're welcome.
So you started venturing out already?
Yes. I've been out when I needed, to go to get essential items out of the supermarket. And then sometimes we go out just for a ride, because I think it's important that people know that even though we're in quarantine, we still need to get out. And even if you just do a short walk around your neighborhood to keep yourself active. Also, it's good for you not to just keep yourself active, but just to breathe in some nice, clean, fresh air. Making sure, of course, that if you are, around other people, that you're still keeping that social distancing of 6 feet. And a lot of our stores here, they actually have the tape markers so that you know that you're 6 feet apart from the person. But remembering that also when you're outside, that you still need to remain with that social distancing. So we actually have went out for walks. We went to the park and just, kind of sat there and just looked at all the beauty that God has put on this earth. And I think these are great things for you to do. We've actually taken some Fridays and went to some of the local community centers, and we helped to give out food. What we did is we gathered the food for them, whereas usually would be allowed to come in and kind of do like a grocery shop. We've actually prepared the foods inside of the actually food pantry in the community center. And then when the people come, we just hand them the bag, and then they're allowed to go around, but they have to have a mask. They're allowed to go around outside to each station where there's maybe vegetables or fruit or some type of meat and dairy, and they can pick those out for themselves. We, of course, we have our gloves on, we have our masks on, we are fully equipped, just in case, because God, He can heal us, but He wants us to use wisdom first. So that's what He gave us wisdom for. So we still protect ourselves, but we do go out, and these are the type of reasons why I would go out, of course. Yes.
Yeah. Yes, going out is and you I couldn't have put it better myself. When you go out, just make certain that we follow the guidelines that were set forth by our local governments and our state governments, and be safe. And my kids asked me what I wanted for Mother's Day.
Oh.
And all I want is I haven't had seafood in a while, so I want a low country boil, which is with crab, shrimp, sausage, potatoes, all that good stuff. I said I want a low country boil, and I want it in Stone Mountain Park.
Oh.
It happened. They took me to Stone Mountain Park. We were socially distanced from other families. They laid out the buffet that they picked up from one of the restaurants. And as you shared, nature is just so beautiful. We were breathing in fresh air. It was simply amazing.
That's wonderful. That is beautiful. And I've never met you in person, but I think that that's something that you were well deserving of. And it sounds like it was a wonderful outing for the whole family. That's wonderful. We actually went to my mother's house, and it was just me and, the immediate family. And my husband and my father cooked for my mother and I. And my sister-in-law, she actually cooked too. But the men, they cater to us, they cook for us. And it's funny that you mentioned seafood, because my husband makes these wonderful crab cakes. So he made those for us. He usually makes them every Mother's Day for us. So he made them for us. And my father made salmon cakes. So my mother was so happy, because she loves all types of seafood. And we just had a wonderful day with my mom. Yes.
Well, that is wonderful. First of all, thank you for the kind compliment. And I would say the same thing about you. I am certain that you were most deserving, and your mom as well. And your hubby and your father did a great job.
Thank you. Thank you.
Now, what do you most, when the pandemic is over, what do you, I know you mentioned that you like to take that cruise. What is one other thing you most want to do?
I would like to be able to just, well, you said one other thing, but I would
Oh,
just
you can
like,
share.
I would just like to be able to go to the beach. I do like the beach. I like to, mostly I like the boardwalk. And then I do like to sit out on the beach, but I would like to do that. And then, of course, my primary thing is I just can't wait to get back to church, into the sanctuary, and be able to. We have a retreat we go to every year with a group of women from all different churches, and that's in September. And I would love for us to be able to go to that retreat. So I would love to. I love retreats. I don't know if you've been to any, but they are refreshing as well. So I look forward to that retreat. Looking forward to just going to the beach. That's something that both me and my husband enjoy. We always have together. So those are just a few things. I don't want to go on and on.
Well, you selected two great ones. The beach is perfect. And of course, being with other members of the church and going to retreats with ladies would be a wonderful, wonderful thing to do. And um, what gives Kimberly Cheris, what gives you hope?
What gives me hope is, I know it's going to be cliche, but what gives me hope is God. The fact that I have God in my life. Whenever I'm, feeling like I'm going to be, a little bit sad, or even when I feel like things may be overwhelming, or, I've lost something, I feel like it's God that strengthens me, gives me the hope to go on, to see another day, that gives me the hope to know that everything is going to be all right. Yes.
Yes. What is your favorite scripture that is getting you through this difficult time?
I would say that it is, I will never leave you nor forsake you. I love that scripture because he promised that he would never leave us nor forsake us. And I keep, even when I watch the news and maybe it's not so great of a report, I feel as though God is telling me that I will never leave you nor forsake you. And that means your family too. He just, it's a reassurance that he gives me. And that happens practically every day during this COVID-19. We have some close friends who were affected by the virus, and some close friends who actually had the virus. So it's been a trying time, but he keeps on reminding me that even with them, that he hasn't left them. And a lot of them are now COVID-19 negative. And so that's a good report. And a lot of them were allowed to come home. So I just keep trusting in him and hanging on to that word. And that is my favorite scripture, even before COVID-19. Because as you know, we all are faced with trying times throughout our life in different forms. So I can always hang on to that word, because the word tells us that his word will not return void. It will accomplish what it is set out to do.
Oh, yes. And that is really, really, really a reassuring scripture. So thank you so much for sharing that with us. And we're just happy to hear that your friends are COVID negative, and it's a wonderful praise report in itself.
Yeah.
Now, Kimberly Cheris, tell me, what does it mean to be an Ashro woman?
It means being virtuous, confident, strong, beautiful, resilient, kind, and just simply fabulous.
Oh, yes, I agree with all of those things. And what does an Ashro woman do when she's faced with challenges and adversity?
She stands with her head high and she says, I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. And she does it. She gets the job done.
That is wonderful. I tell you, it has really, really been a pleasure speaking with you today. You have inspired us so. You have given so many, different types of words of wisdom that we can take with us through this virus and beyond. And we're just so appreciative of that. And now, is there anything that I have not asked that you'd like to share with us? Or can you leave us with any more words of wisdom?
I would just like to say, first of all, I thank you again for, even thinking of me as far as the Astro Woman. And I love the initiative, the Astro Woman at Home, because I believe because when I listened, it encouraged me to the different people that you interviewed and even listening to you. And I believe right now that is an important thing. If I had one thing to say to anybody today or any time during this time is, please don't forget to encourage someone else. Even if you just call them, you don't even have to FaceTime them, but there's a lot in the power of love. And that's a form of showing love when you reach out to people and encourage them and inspire them. A lot of people, we don't know them, but when we inspire them, we're showing God's love. And I feel as though that if you need to be lifted up, just know that somebody cares for you and that you are somebody. And I'm going to say it again, don't let your past dictate your future. Go forth and do whatever it is that you want to do.